but regardless, I just would like to have a thought exercise, if we may.
This is great for podcasts.
No, it's not for podcasts. I'm just asking a question.
Okay.
What if the Niners play Brandon Allen and do win?
Ooh. Can I answer that, teacher? So what?
Okay.
I just told you. No, I want you to listen, and listen good. I just told you. Last year, Jake Browning was 4-3 with the Bengals. Joe Burrow was 5-5 with the Bengals. Jake Browning had a better pass completion percentage, a better passer rating, a better touchdown percentage than Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Did it mean a thing?
Well,
no.
hold on.
Cooper Rush was 4-1 in 2022 with the Cowboys. Did it mean a thing?
Malik Willis, undefeated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick has his moments. You know, Joshua Dobbs, who is a backup for the Niners, we saw him play pretty well in Minnesota.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So I'm just saying, I mean,
so that's
you're talking
the
about
answer.
one game versus,
Guys, what?
what's Purdy done it for? 30 games?
I'm not
come on.
talking about anything. I asked a question. Wild said it'd be good for a podcast. Seemed to be pretty good for the TV show because Brou freaked out on me. I'm just asking. If Brandon Allen goes out there and plays, and which Brou, the new stat Brou loves this year is air yards per completion.
That's good.
If Brandon Allen is chucking it downfield, and if all of a sudden the Niners offense looks pretty similar, will that at all be a data point in our ongoing discussion of, is Brock Purdy a bus driver or a bus rider? It won't be.
No.
Okay, so
one iota.
why? So now,
Nick Mullins, C.J. Beathard.
No, because those guys.
Trey Lance.
I told you,
hold on.
Hobbs.
Wait, hold on.
Get to the C.J.
No,
Beathard part.
the
Trey Lance,
the Trey Lance
who
thing
once
we can
loved.
discuss. The Trey Lance thing we can discuss.
Yeah, how'd he
but
play there?
Hold on. The Nick Mullins, C.J. Beathard thing, I don't, because it wasn't this team. It was not this collection of players.
Oh, but a lot of them were there. Kittle was there.
He's
a lot of
literally
other guys
the only
were
one.
there.
Literally, no, none of the others.
They were 1-5 when Jimmy Garoppolo got there, and then they won, or 1-10.
1-10,
and then they won 5 straight.
But that was your old Jimmy Garoppolo.
The player made
we don't talk about Jimmy Garoppolo so much anymore.
Well, you brought him up yesterday.
And so
like,
I'm just asking. Brandon Allen goes out there and looks good. Will it mean anything? Your guys' answer is no. My answer is a little something.
I mean, it'd have to be a stretch.
A little something.
Long stretch.
And so, and where I disagree with you, Greg, is that I don't. Yes, they are certainly. If Brock Purdy were not there and just generic backup quarterback were in there, they'd be worse. Like every team in the league would be worse if their starter was out and a backup were in there. But if Brock Purdy weren't in there and a guy that everyone thinks is middle of the road, if Baker Mayfield or
we can't do
Baker.
Okay, all right, that's fine. All right, so let's take Baker out. Who's the dead middle of the road quarterback this year? Kirk Cousins? I don't know, like whoever you think is like the dead league average.
Oddly, I think like Daniel Jones.
No, Daniel Jones just got cut.
So you can hear Nick right there just really questioning Brock Purdy and how good he is, saying he's just, riding the bus, right? He's not the bus driver. He's not the one really elevating the play of all the other Niners on the offense, the Kittles, the Debos, the McCaffreys, So Nick just kind of ripping him there, and he's also questioning what will happen if Brandon Allen goes out there and puts up similar stats that Brock Purdy has been putting up this year. Now, I don't really see that happening. I don't expect that at all. You kind of look at Brock Purdy's career numbers versus Brandon Allen's career numbers, and it is a massive difference. So I don't really see Brandon Allen going out there and being able to pull off some of the things that Brock Purdy has pulled off this year. But, the 49ers really need it. They desperately need Brandon Allen to play at a Brock Purdy level, especially with some of the other injuries that are still ongoing with the 49ers. Especially on the defensive side of the ball with no Nick Bosa this weekend in Lambeau Field. That is going to be huge. I mean, Brandon Allen, in my opinion, is going to have to play out of his mind. He's going to have to play really well unless the 49ers can find a way to just crush Green Bay on the ground. If they can find some way to get Christian McCaffrey loose, maybe get Jordan Mason loose, get a bunch of yards for those guys, maybe Brandon Allen's role won't be so big. But if the 49ers can't run the ball, if they can't find a way to open holes and get some explosives for like McCaffrey or Mason or maybe Garendo, didn't really see much of Garendo lately, but they're going to have to figure something out. They're going to have to either be able to run the ball really well, take the pressure off of Brandon Allen, or Brandon Allen is going to have to play out of his mind. So kind of looking at, the Niners and the Packers, when it comes to the stats, things are very similar for them. Kind of looking at the offensive stats, so San Francisco's got 3,989 yards this season. They're second in yards, and Green Bay is only 2 spots behind them. So Green Bay is fourth with 3,882 yards. So there's only about 100 yards there separating the Packers and the 49ers when it comes to the offense this year. So, Green Bay's got 2,382 passing yards, the Niners with 2,511. So, Purdy's got a little bit more. When it comes to passing yards, when you look at rushing yards, very similar. Niners with 1,478 rush yards, Packers with 1,499 rush yards, and points per game is dead even right now. So the Packers and the 49ers both averaging 25 points a game right now. So kind of looking at the offensive side of the ball, it's very close. I mean, Green Bay and San Francisco are near the top when you look at kind of yards per game. Points per game is a little lower than a lot of other teams, but, just straight up yardage. These two teams are very similar this year when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. When you look defensively, it's a little bit different here in total yards given up. So the Niners have given up 3,022 yards as a defense this year. Green Bay almost up at 3,300. So there's a bigger difference there. Packers are nowhere near the top when it comes to like total yards allowed in games this season. If you look at passing, the Niners have allowed 1,972 pass yards. Green Bay 2,075. So that's pretty comparable there. When it comes to rushing, the Niners have allowed 1,050 rush yards this season. Green Bay a little higher at 1,196. And defensively, Packers are slightly better when it comes to points per game. So the Packers as a defense this year are giving up 21.3 points per game. Niners 22.2. So Green Bay definitely has the edge there when you just look at how many points per game these teams have given up this year. But, very similar here, to be honest. The biggest difference on the defensive side of the ball is the yards. The Packers have given up about 300 more yards than the Niners, so there is a pretty decent spread there. But overall, kind of looking at a lot of the stats here when it comes to yardage, points per game, both on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, these teams are very similar when it comes to the stats. So, something that's a little bit of an X factor, the 49ers special teams has been pretty bad this year. This is probably one of their worst years when it comes to special teams performance, so that has really cost them. The 49ers' lack of red zone execution, they're getting all these yards, right? The 49ers are second in yards, but they're just not converting it into points. When they get in the red zone, they're not getting those touchdowns. They're kicking field goals or they're missing field goals. Moody missing 3 freaking field goals in one game against the Tampa Bay Bucks, not helping them to get that points per game up. But let me know what you think about it. I mean, kind of looking at it, stats are very similar offensively and defensively for both of these teams. But the big thing here is no Bosa, no Purdy. I mean, that is huge. That is a huge hit to the defense for the 49ers. And, Purdy not being there, of course, a massive hit to the offense for the 49ers. So definitely, for me, it's looking like a Packer win this weekend. It is the NFL. Anything could happen any given Sunday, but everything right now is pointing to the Packers taking this game. And in my opinion, ending the 49ers season. But I want to know, what do you think about it? What do you think here about Nick Wright saying that Brock Purdy is not the bus driver? He's not the one elevating the play of all these people he calls Avengers around him, right? The McCaffreys, the Debos, the Kittles. Nick Wright says he's just along for the ride, right? He is a rider on the bus. He is not driving the bus. So let me know what you think about that, and also let me know what you think about this game this Sunday in Lambeau Field. Do you think this is a must-win for the Niners? Do you think their season is over if they do not pull out this game, and if they drop to a record of 5-6? Let me know what you think about it in the comments section. Appreciate you for taking the time to watch this, and I will talk to you soon.